Today's an incredibly sad day. And we've really gathered together today to try to accomplish two things. One, reflect upon Chase's life and to celebrate his life. We're going to have some folks share about his life, and we'll be reminded of the individual that he really was and is. And then secondly, to help us to walk through the grieving process, because, can we be honest, this has been a horrendous week for everyone in this room. And you have to ask questions at times like this. Where's God? And what does he do in situations like this? I'd like to begin by praying with you. Would you join me in prayer? Father, I really do thank you that you really do love us. And you love Chase in an amazing way. And today we find solace and peace in recognizing that you sent your son, the Lord Jesus, to die on the cross for Chase. Chase heard that gospel message, the good news. And because of that, we can find peace, understanding that he has this relationship with you. So remind us of that even today. Father, I pray that as we celebrate Chase's life, that you would place smiles upon our faces, that you would give us peace in our hearts, which we desperately, desperately need. Pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, if you followed this situation on Facebook, you've seen a lot about Chase. Chase was loved, cared for. As a matter of fact, someone said, Chase, you're a piece of work, and they meant that in a positive way. His smile lit up the room. His personality entered the room before he did. Willingness to help others, to put others ahead of himself. Rarely found today. That was Chase. His work ethic, out of this world. His kindness, beyond measure. Sense of humor, incredible. The smile, a smile that once you've seen, you don't quickly forget. So on behalf of Kurt and Wanda and his sister Jenna, thank you so much for being here today. They certainly appreciate the kindnesses that you have shared with them. There have been many of you that have given us insight from your perspective into Chase's life. I'd like to read a number of those to you. Then we're going to have some folks that are going to come and share. One I'd like to read to you is from Yaritza Salto. She is in the military, wasn't able to be here, tried to come home, but was unable to come home to join us. And she wrote something I'd like to read to you. Chase, in a few hours, I should have been getting on a plane to get back to the States to say my goodbyes properly. My final words, a collection of my thoughts, the memories that we shared, to tell the world of the Chase I knew. I want you to know I tried my hardest. You were my closest friend, and always had my back and looked out for me. So many of us could say that, could we not? I'm so grateful to have had you in my life. We've shared high school memories together, car rides, late McDonald's runs, camping, swimming, all the FaceTime calls, my breakdowns, singing random songs at the loudest volume we could. That's Chase. Our pool matches, Snapchats, baking cakes. Didn't realize that Chase baked cakes. Painting your kitchen. The time I made you clean your room, which your mother was greatly appreciative of that. So much more I could go on and on. Now that's all I have, memories. My world's falling apart, being halfway around the world. You kept me sane. Random snaps on random messages. You asked me a million questions about how it was out here, what my days looked like. You talked about you helping me, surprise my family, picking me up at the airport at the end of my deployment. I want you to know, you'll always be a part of my life. All the things I do, there will always be an empty spot in my heart for you. No one will be able to fulfill. Even if I can't make it to your celebration of life service, I will ensure that the world hears the way I knew you. The true, goofy, honest, caring, loving Chase. Those words really do describe him. And that you were my true friend, never walked out on me, and that you made me part of your family. I'll forever have love for you and for your family. And someone said this, when I walked into the bay at the fire station for my midnight drink, there you are hanging your blanket on your gear rack. And when I asked you what you were doing, you didn't answer me. I knew right then you were sleepwalking. That's James. Another firefighter said, today, standing at our gear racks, it really hit me. You're going to be missed more than you know. Times at the firehouse, cracking jokes, and pushing them to the very limit where, quote-unquote, a wrestling match or two might have taken place. In the engine bay are times that I'll never forget. And Emily Walker said a few months back, Chase found out that I was leaving for the Army this summer. The first thing he said to me was, so, you're leaving your leather behind, your helmet. He offered to trade me his pet pug. I don't know if you realize. Knowing that I'm obsessed with them, that's just unfair for this helmet. That's definitely something that I will hold in my heart forever. Someone said, out of all the things I noticed about you was how much of a caring, delicate, loving individual you seem to be. You made your parents and all of your friends extremely proud. I know for sure. I'll miss your random texts and the jolly smile as you climb off the rig. I'm going to ask Tim Carr if he would join me and share. Tim is from North Cadorus, Engine 12.
I'll do my best, let's put it this way. I'm not really a good public speaker. It's my honor and privilege for me to be able to pay tribute to a very special person in my life. For those that don't know, I'm not only the chief of North Cadorus, but when it comes to Chase, I consider myself to be so much more. I'm family. If I wasn't there the day that Kurt wanted to brought him home, I can guarantee I was there soon after. So for the next 18.5 years, I watched him grow and develop into the young man that many of you here today know. As I began to reach out and go through my ever-aging mind for the right words and stories to try to express my thoughts, I could hear Chase telling me, be brief, don't talk long. That's kind of a joke. Appreciation banquets, I tend to get a little wordy. As I look back over the years, some of the things I remember stopping. At one time, Wanda was watching my daughters along with her own children. I remember stopping and pick up the girls. And now they have dogs that greet you when you open the door. At that time, it was kids. They all come running to the door. Chase come running around the corner, saw it was me, smirked at me, and then ran away. And that's kind of the relationship we had. From that point on, Chase, we didn't really have to have words, just a look. He knew if he had done something wrong, or if we needed to have words later, and then we would move on. Another example, and if you look at the table up here, there's a wonderful set of small turnout here. I knew at that point Chase was addicted, loved fire department. This isn't the original set, I don't believe. Is this the original ones? Not the second set, because this is the original set. There was a second set. When he grew out of this set, we were sent to the Fire Expo, Well, Kurt was sent to the Fire Expo, but since Kurt was on a mission, so were the rest of us. We were not allowed to come home unless we found a new set of turnout gear. And I believe the moment we gave them to him, the moment he couldn't fit his feet in the boots or get the pants on, that young man wore that set of gear. So that is a moment that I remember looking back and saying that I knew that he was addicted. Even to the points when they would come back, he would escape from our social room into the engine bay just to be out here around the fire trucks. I use the word escape because sometimes he was quick. You wouldn't know that, but he was quick at a point. He was quick. And looking back at some time together, I remember an evening when the kids were playing Just Dance. I had to put this in a speech because it was a remarkable time. Just Dance, and Chase isn't a great dancer. And it was probably pretty warm in that room. We went in to check on him, and there was Chase dancing without a shirt on. Thus, the beginning of the Gibby years. Remember iCarly. He probably, right now, he loved that name. He didn't really. And he's probably cursing at me right now. The last time, about a year ago, a year a little over, he came to me and was talking to me about this truck that him and Branson were working on, this repair, the body work, how they had cut the cab corners, and they were doing some remarkable work. Why he was proud of the job that the two of them were doing, showing me pictures, talking me through the process because, well, I'll be honest, I don't know anything about auto body. So he was trying to talk me through. And in that explanation, he went to my truck to show me exactly what they had done. Well, he made a comment to me that, well, you're starting to get a little bit of rust here. I said, you're crazy. Well, I said other words, but I'll say you're crazy for today. And he said, no. So probably about 6 months later, once you know, the rust started showing. And he had that smirk again that he tends to give to me. And I had to eat crow and acknowledge that he was right and I was wrong this time. And don't you know, he didn't let me forget it. The last thing I'm going to talk on is actually more probably related from the chief's point of view, a proud moment. I had the opportunity to be present the day that he completed one of his goals in life, mission in life. He passed his interior firefighter. The night before, he texted me the minute he knew he passed the test, and letting me know. And then his first question after telling me that, he said, "Are you going to show up tomorrow?" I'll be there, Chase. I will be there. And that was probably the proudest moment as chief and as see the young man complete his lifelong goal. So Chase, and my brother, it's hard for me to say goodbye. So I'm just going to say so long. The pages of your book will never close. As I look around the room today, your story will live on through each of us and everyone that you've touched. And I always hear you yelling, "Go get them, brothers!"
I'm going to invite Joe Piero from Apple Collision to come and share.
For those of you that don't know, my name is Joe Piero. I was one of Chase's managers at Apple Collision Center. It was a great privilege writing this with the help from our team to express and share memories that made Chase a part of our family at Apple. first time I met Chase was in his interview. I had a funny suspicion of him. Why? Because I'm pretty sure he would have worked for free. Chase was determined he was doing the co-op program no matter what. This boy was not sitting in a classroom, he was getting a job. After the interview, Denny, our general manager, said, "I really like that kid. You can tell. He's a very hard worker, and if you take care of him, he'll be with you forever." That statement was accurate. He was a very hard worker, and he is with us forever, as he left very special memories with every single one of us. When we hired Chase, we were aware of his devotion to being a firefighter. This was a huge plus for us. A young man in school, volunteer firefighter, and out starting a career. The foundation for success. What more could you ask for? Personally, I would give Chase a hard time. Why? We'd ask him, "Are you going to be a body man or a firefighter?" Of course, he would say what I want to hear. "I want to be a body man." This wasn't a truthful answer, but he thought it was the right one for me. You see, even though Chase was young, he was able to conquer school, work, and become a firefighter all at the same time. He set goals and had the skill set to achieve happiness for himself while helping others. There was one day I can recall that just wasn't Chase's day. He drove into work, and his brake line rusted out. Instead of going through the argument, "You shouldn't have bought a Chevy," I told him to take it up to service and they'll fix it. A little bit later, he grabs his keys, and I say, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm grabbing lunch, then dropping my truck off. I have an e-brake." At this point, I had him take our shop car to lunch. He leaves, and I get a text, "I'm going to be back late." Now, I know Chase wasn't picking any ladies up in our shop car, which is a Chevy. So he says, "I'm pulled over. The inspection has been out for 3 months." Even though this just added to his bad day, he walked in with a big smile and smirk while chuckling, and hands me a yellow warning slip saying, "The cop told me to give this to you." It's just an example of how Chase could still have fun, smile, and laugh, even if his day wasn't going right. Monday was our first day in the shop since Chase's passed. The quiet and emotional atmosphere was difficult for our entire team. It was early in the morning, and we found a kitten, a baby kitten, outside the shop, and it crawled in the engine bay of a delivered vehicle that we had completed. Not a common occurrence, but we, Nathan and Matt popped the hood and got this kitten out, and we got a box, food, water, and it sat out in the shop next to all of us all day. It helped brighten our day. We weren't sure if this was a sign of his presence, but it was special to every single one of us. Finally, and most important, the reason Chase was hardworking, dedicated, and always full of love is very simple. He was raised the way we all hope we can raise our own children. I only met Wanda one time when she brought in cupcakes for his 18th birthday. Absolutely, we gave Chase a hard time. But the first he did was walk around to everyone and said, "My mom brought these in, have one." He was full of love, and it could be seen all over the impact she made on him. Personally, I don't know Wanda and Kurt, but through Chase, I could see he was raised to put others before yourself, work hard, and family is most important. I'm honored that we were able to share these memories of Chase with the people that were most important to him. Chase will forever remember the memories that he left with us and create new ones when we meet again.
And now I'm going to invite Brendan Orth, who's a friend of the family, also a fire chief from Harrisburg, to come share.
I guess I went a little bit more technologically and more advanced. Is that a word? I brought the tablet. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brendan Orth, and I was a friend and brother of Chase's. I currently serve as the department chief for the Chambersville Fire Company in Swatara Township, Dauphin County. I am also the Pennsylvania State Lead Advocate for the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. I've had the opportunity to speak in my nearly 25-year career at many funerals. Today is one of the hardest that I have to speak at. The reason for that is because I know that Chase was a promising and honorable future firefighter. I had the privilege to attend an event this past weekend in Boston. And I talked to many fire chiefs from across our great nation. These were leaders of the fire service, leaders of FDNY, the Philadelphia Fire Department, Fresno, California, and Phoenix, Arizona, amongst 50 other leaders. I shared Chase's story with them. I told them how he was taken too soon. The reason I shared his story is because I saw a vision in Chase. I saw a leader. I saw the future of the fire service in someone who would lay their life on the line to save someone else in need. We talked extensively about leadership. My mind again went to Chase. Chase was someone I saw working towards becoming a leader, a mentor to younger firefighters down the road. But our purpose of our time together in Boston was to discuss ways and best practices to help prevent firefighters from being killed in the line of duty. Each year we lose nearly 100 firefighters that die as heroes, saving lives, giving their all and making the extreme sacrifice. Although Chase didn't lose his life last weekend fighting a fire, he did die a hero. Because a hero is defined in the dictionary as a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. I think hero certainly defines and describes Chase, just as these other folks have mentioned as well. Chase's dream started out at a very young age to become a firefighter. He loved to go to the fire station and even play dress up in his own set of fire gear that his dad had bought for him. I was lucky enough to see some of those pictures, just as you're lucky enough today to see the set of gear here in front of us. He was a cute kid in those pictures. Although I'm not sure what happened to him as he got a little older, I think I may have to blame that one on you, Kurt. But no matter what, Chase worked hard in everything he did. He worked hard to get through school and to graduate so that he could work full-time at Apple Collision, doing what he loved to do, working in the auto body field. I saw some of Chase's painting work and body skills, which were incredible. He did his work with passion and love, just like he loved the fire service and his family. I had the chance to speak with Chase a few weeks ago at the Fire Expo in Harrisburg, and we talked for quite a while. We talked about firefighter safety and making sure his brothers and sisters were safe. We talked about calls that he had gone on, but most importantly, we talked about how he never wanted to see any of his brothers or sisters injured or lose their life in the line of duty. he cared about his fire family. He cared about all the men and women that he had the chance to train with, run calls with, and of course just give the middle finger to. If you aren't familiar with the fire family, look around the room. Look at how many lives this 18-year-old person touched. He loved his friends, he loved his service, he loved his job, he loved his family, he loved to make people laugh with that cheesy grin, but most importantly, he loved you all. As I think back in my last two conversations I had with Chase, he sent me a picture and wanted me to see the leather helmet that he had painted. It's here at Station 9. I had helped him get that helmet, so I wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to see what he had done with it. He was so very proud, but not as proud as he was when he got to wear it into his first fire. He made sure he told me the first big fire and that the helmet going in, and I told him I hope that the paint didn't get damaged. I said because that was too nice to get dirty or to be scratched. I hope in the future that that helmet will hang in the station or in the Hartlaub house in honor of Chase's accomplishment of touching people's lives. Well, my last conversation with Chase was back on June 7th. I reached out to see how he and his department were doing after sustaining a line of duty death. Chase's exact words were, "We're hanging in there, buddy, but it's hard when it's one of your own." It is hard. I've lived that very nightmare myself. The men and women who respond to answer the call when help is needed never expect to see one of their own firefighters in need. Last weekend, that unfortunate call came in. Station 9, I keep you all in my thoughts, my prayers, as you deal with the loss and continue to heal from your brother Chase. We are all family, and family is here to help each other heal. So as you heal, remember, love each other, be there for each other, and most importantly, be there for Chase's family. God bless you for that. Just in closing, I had the chance to stop by Station 9 last Wednesday evening. Bear with me here. And Kurt and I had the chance to come in and meet some of Chase's brothers. They welcomed me in with a handshake and kind words. And when I left by getting hugs and understanding exactly why Chase loved the crew that he fell in love with. In approximately 6 months, Chase touched the lives of these men and women. He left a legacy that will never be forgotten. He left an imprint. It's not an imprint in the sand that will be washed away after a period of time. This one is encased in stone. This one is embedded into the minds of everyone that knew Chase and that knew what a great guy he had grown to become. Chase was family. Chase was part of the brotherhood that is the fire service. Since last weekend, the fire family has interacted with the Hartlaub family and has stood beside them with anything they may need. They brought food, they brought flowers, they sent cards, they sent money, they sent memories that will last forever. Although none of these things will bring Chase back, you have gained a fire family beside you that will always be here. And as I close, I want to share one last thing. I invited Chase to come and ride at our department a few months back. I told him as soon as we had our new ladder truck in service, which is here today, that we would get him up to ride. So today, Kurt and Wanda, I want to present to you Chase become a firefighter with Chambersville Fire Company. I love you both.
Now a few words from Chief Glenn, Engine 9.
So my first words are wow. I mean, you look around the room here and it's amazing the number of people that he obviously touched, and that's absolutely wonderful. A couple weeks ago there was a picture that showed up in the local news of our apparatus. And it had a picture of one of our decals. And the decal says, "We're the boys from Denver." That has been around for a number of years. And it's not about any individual, it's about what we stand for. Those who have become part of the boys from Dover understand these things. That we're committed to our community, our members, our family. When the tones drop, we're out the door in under a minute and ready to perform. That was Chase. We must have pride. Pride in our equipment, our station, ourselves. Pick it up, put it away, make it right. Make everything ready for that next call. Chase was part of that. Never stop learning, training, educating yourself, helping others to become better educated firefighters. That was Chase. We'll risk a lot to save a lot, we'll risk nothing to save nothing. But it comes with the understanding that at some point he may be asked to make that ultimate sacrifice. I have no doubt that if he was asked to do that, he would. Fulfill your tasks quickly, efficiently, and work to take an out-of-control situation and make it better. From the smallest gestures, like rescuing ducks from a storm drain, we've done that, to crawling through complete darkness to look for someone. I have no doubt that Chase would do all those things. We'll stop whatever we're doing, we'll respond, we'll lose sleep, we'll lose meals, we'll lose family time. Chase certainly did that. We will stand and fight together and never leave one of our own behind. From one of those great lines from Backdraw, you go, we go. No doubt he would do that. When we hurt together. Right now we're hurt. When we play together. When we cry together. To my guys, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's not okay to give up. He would not want you to give up. Chase was only with us for a short time. He's going to be missed. But to everybody who he touched, please carry a piece of Chase with you. Because having known him, we're all better people. Thank you.
And we'll invite Adam Weaver to join me and share at this point.
All I can say is, I'm not one to be a speaker, but just as Chief Clint Jensen said, wow. I knew this young man for roughly 6 months and had no idea this is the impact he had on this world. Before I do my speech, my attire today was brought to you by our own Chase Hartlaub. He had a picture we known as Trailer Chase around here. He came walking in the one day, and the members asked him if he just came from next door from the trailer park. The next day, he was dressed real nice, and we were like, what is this? He goes, gotta keep him guessing. I just wrote down, like I said, I'm not the best speaker, but thank you for coming out to celebrate Chase's life. He was such an incredible young man. Like I said, my name is Adam Weaver, and this is the young man that I am standing here honored to speak about. He was known to me as Little Weave. There's a few stories behind that. He reminded me of myself whenever I first started. Trained hard, and he was a great friend and loyal as well. Every day he came eager to learn and ready to go. I'm one of the guys that helped train the new probies, and I'm pretty hard on them. If you don't know the pecking order, you will. My first memory of this young man is whenever the new guys join, I give them what Chase called the shitbag speech. I will tell them that there's a pecking order, and that to earn the respect of myself and the guys, you had to follow the rules of the firehouse and be ready to go. We, the first day came here after the speech, we all did a big family dinner, as we do every Saturday night. We do it on duty crew. So we made dinner, we're getting the tables all set up. Chase goes, he makes his plate, and he sits down. As everybody, all of us, we stand there, and just wow. And they all looked at me, because they were like, what is Weaver going to do? Thinking that I would just grab this kid's plate and throw it in the trash. As some new guys, I probably would have. I don't know what it was about this young man, but I didn't do just that. He tested a few of the Proby ladder chains, and after that, I'm sorry, I got off track. During the dinner, we all ate and everything. We all sat down and joked around, and this is what really helped me make the decision. Jerry Fitzke, Chris Mendez, and Chase Hartlaub, they all joined at the same time. I said, I don't care if you guys have to rock, paper, scissors, shoot, draw short straws, whatever be the case. You guys divide up the chores. We will go from here. Chase ended up getting dishes. I don't know if all of you guys are aware, but Chase, whenever it came to cleaning, he was not the guy to ask. So I said, Chase, I said, do you know how to do the dishes? He said, yeah. I said, all right. I said, scrub them, put them away, we'll go with that. So I watched this young man. He filled up the right side of the sink with soap and water. He filled up the left side with soap and water. I stood there and I said, Chase, I said, what side are you going to rinse it on? He goes, real confident, this side. All right, my man. I said, I'm just going to stand back, I'll watch your method and see how we're learning from this. He dipped his plate in the right side, scrubbed it, got real soapy. He dipped it in the left side. Whenever his plan didn't work out, he gave me one of those like little look backs, and I was like, how did it work out? He said it didn't. I said, all right. That was just one of the many reasons why I went up to our training officer and asked Chase to be my probie so I could be his mentor. Every time I pushed this young man, I'd have him outside of our training tower, laying in the yard, exhausted, coat wide open. I said, hey man, I said, I know you're tired. I know I've pushed you, but I just need one more from you. Can you do it? He would say yes. I said, all right. And I'd always make the last one the hardest drill of the day, so they knew if they would ever get in trouble, they had that extra push to make it there. My last funny memory that I will share, because I have quite a long thing, and I'm sure plenty of others want to share, was I was doing grip training with these young gentlemen, and I told him, I said, I'll have you run around the building twice. I said, you go upstairs, you sit in the hallway, and you wait for the young man to come and see you. I said, as soon as you see Fitzke, you shut your air off. He said, all right. And I said, you got that. You shut it off and you hold your breath until you're good to go. He said, okay, I got it. I said, all right. So he gets up there as I'm watching through with our thermal imaging camera. I hear him shut it off. And all I start doing is I start hearing muffle. I hear, hey, where is it? Come on, let me see it. I need it. And through all the chaos, I hear, whoo, shit! Wondering what happened after he panically, and he tried to slide his face piece off and tuck it away. We did it. I walked outside, said, I will be outside, fellas. And as they came walking out, I played Amazing Grace and I saluted. And I said, do you know why I'm doing this? He said, no. I said, Chase, I said, that is one rule we don't do. I said, I don't want to see you die in the fire. I don't want to see you get harmed, so you keep it on. And as we discussed why, and my next question was, what happened? This young man looked at me, and he goes, I forgot to take a breath. I said, well, at least you're honest. I said, next time, I said, how about we take a breath and try to hold our breath before? He said, sounds good. Just ever since, he was my junior, because it all fell in part with that as well, with his interior. As soon as he found out that I was going to be his mentor, he sent me a friend request on Facebook. This young man walked up to me and he asked, he goes, did you get my friend request? I said, I sure did, Chase, it's right here on my phone. He goes, oh, cool. And I go, guess what? He goes, what? And I pushed delete. He's like, aw. I said, Chase, as I told the other two of you guys, I said, you're going to have to work for that acceptance. I said, just because you're a little weave doesn't mean you get accepted. Every time he would come back after a great accomplishment, especially his interior, and ask if it was time, if I accepted it. I said, Chase, we still have a rescue book we have to work on. And his kryptonite of that was the bull and knot. I said, as soon as you tie the bull in, I would be happy to accept it. Just a part of memory on Friday. Last Friday was a rough day, as it was for all we guys. I was at work. I received a phone call, and it's been a big blur ever since then. Sunday came around. There's a few of us here, and I told them that I'd like to go see his father on Father's Day and express our sympathy. So we went to the store. We got a Father's Day card. We showed up at the house with our fire engine. We blocked the road, made the neighbors drive through the yard and everything else. We gave Kurt a Father's Day card. And just told them they have 40 brand new sons. Their response is, this is going to be an expensive Christmas. Since that day, we've been talking with them, crying with them, and cherishing his memory with them. These are just some of the great memories I have of this young man, and he has impacted my life a lot. Thank you, and thank you all for coming out here.
And with one more person that's going to share, the sister Jenna Hartlaub.
I don't like public speaking, and he knew that a lot, but I just felt I had to do this for my family. So I'm going to start with my poem that I started and found online, and it's called Broken Chains. So it starts out as this. We didn't know that morning God was going to call your name. In life we love you dearly, in death we do the same. It broke our hearts to lose you, you did not go alone. For parts of us went with you, the day God called you home. You left us beautiful memories, your love is still our guide, and though we cannot see you, you are always by our side. Our family chain is broken, and nothing seems the same, but as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again. As you can see, we're all here together and celebrate the life of my little brother. Everyone here today is here because of some connection they shared with him, whether it be that he was family, a friend, a brother, or a co-worker. Some are here to celebrate and support my loved ones, which I thank you so much for. It's no doubt that my brother wasn't loved, and that he sure made a humongous mark when he was left here on earth by us. Most of you know that my brother was a great person all around. He was kind when he wanted to be, a jokester that made everybody laugh, smile, a music junkie with the weirdest taste in music, and compassionate about everything he touched. In general, he was a little pain in the ass, but he was my pain in the ass. He was brave, strong, and positive with everything that entered his life. There wasn't a time where I was the one consoling him. He was the only one telling me and consoling me. He would always tell me to get over it and stop crying, because tomorrow's another day and it's going to get better from here on out. I still hear him telling me that. I remember the day when he was born, kinda, because I was tiny. But I remember getting a plush monkey, so that I wouldn't be jealous of the pink chubby-faced kid that Mom and Dad were bringing home. I remember sleeping closely to Mom and Dad a few nights every week. Then my memory skips forward and I see him laying in the crib in the living room. Remembering making bubbles and thinking to myself, this would be the perfect baby doll. I'm pretty sure I didn't get much further than that because I'm pretty sure Mom was stopping me. We were just babies. Time moves forward through the years of being babysat by Mom and the friends we made along the way that she had watched. We were all so close, parents and kids alike. There were always get-togethers and parties. We looked forward to them all the time. We played dress up and make believe. Go figure, he would be the one choosing the firefighter outfit. There wasn't a time through that he wasn't in his mind not playing make believe. He was always doing it. It was our favorite thing to do. As time continued to grow and move on, I watched him grow older and become a person. His personality began to shine brighter and brighter with each passing day. We learned he was not a fan of school, no matter how hard we tried to help him. Believe me, it was a struggle for everybody. He got into trouble, but mostly for the stupid little quirks that most school kids got into. He didn't complete his homework. He didn't turn things in. Instead, he procrastinated and scrambled to get things done like me. Television, video games, and the computer became his main priority, with the occasional dirt bike riding up and down the main roads and hanging out with our neighborhood friends. We all became so very close, the neighborhood and us. There wasn't a time where I were begging our friends and our families to go up and hang out with them, or begging our parents just to give us a little bit more time. We'd always be begging them to come down to the house and play with us, or go up to the house and just hang out. We all grew up together. We were inseparable. The boys all went to York Tech School together. The girls all went to Spring Grove together. And we all had a common goal, that we all seemed to follow each other through life and get to where we're going today. Going back to the memories as little kids, there were many days we spent riding four-wheelers or making forts up in the woods. There were times of jumping on the trampoline, hoping we didn't break our bones, using soap to make things a little bit more interesting. Soap and a lot of water. I remember he landed on his face, just slid out from under him, and all he could do was just keep laughing. And then he started playing popcorn, and then we were all falling. It surely made everything a little bit more interesting. Then it also goes to the time we were all jumping from the roof of the carport into the pool for the first time. We never did it again because after that we discovered the little tiny trampoline that we had in our pool, or beside our pool instead. It was the trampoline my parents got me for Christmas one year. The neighborhood kids and I and my brother, we all decided it would be a fantastic idea to pull that trampoline up to the pool. And Chase, being the first one, decided, I'm going to jump on that and I'm going to jump into the pool. So he did. He jumped onto the trampoline and did a belly flop and side landed into the pool. When he came up out of the water, he's like, ow. I'm never doing that again. But I think he did about 15 more times after that. When it was winter time, we'd hook up the sleds and we'd make igloos and we'd make ramps and we'd take off into the snow and we were always outside. I don't think I ever remember a time where we weren't outside or inside playing video games. There's more memories, but I just remember him getting older into teenage years. He took the interest of going to the firehouse to hang out. And during this time, I was being the basic teenage girl who would rather push off everybody and go to work, school, and be with my boyfriend. But Chase and I still managed to sit down at the end of the night and talk about everything. It was one of our favorite times. We talked for a few minutes or for a few hours, and then we'd say goodnight or go to bed. Then I got my license. We were home alone for the weekend. We would order pizza and watch movies, maybe drive around a little bit. It was cool to us that we could drive without mom and dad, because then we'd get in trouble without them knowing, and then we'd keep it a secret if we did. You were kind of tired. We were very terrified of my driving, actually. After I had my license for a while, Mom and Dad started to let me drive you around more frequently and take you places, like school or fire calls and friends' places. I then became very terrified of the pager going off because I knew if Mom and Dad weren't home, even if I was asleep or you were asleep, and you knew how much we knew it, we loved our sleep, you would come flying up those stairs, waking up very, very fast, and you would beg me for a ride. Most of the time, we'd make a trip for you. Sometimes we didn't. He was very pissed off when we didn't make it, and all I could do was laugh and drive home, begging me, don't be mad. I remember one time, and it was a night that I was really tired and didn't feel good. He came flying up the stairs, and he opened my door real quietly. All I saw was a dollar bill slipping through my door. I knew it was a bribe. I didn't want to take it, but I had to. Because he's like, if you don't take this dollar, I know you don't love me. So I took the dollar, told him I'm going to grab my keys, and he was in my car quicker than I could say, let's go. I really wish I could grab my keys and take him to one last call. As siblings, we grew up, and we never forgot to help one another. We motivated each other and helped to do better in what we could. Chase liked to do what Chase liked to do, though. So there was times where I never got to see him, and there was times where he was at the house every time I was, asking me why I was there again. No one really ever knew how proud I was of him for everything he has done and completed. He worked so hard for it, and nobody knows that I am so very proud of him, even in the short time he had. There is no doubt in my mind that each one of you won't go on and continue to make him proud. And there's no doubt in my mind that each and every you won't be there for me and my family as we continue on. So I just want to say thank you from my heart and from my family. And just remember, we love you.
Chase is an amazing individual. As you've just heard for the last 20-some minutes, incident after incident after incident. And while that's amazing, that's what makes today even more and more difficult. It'd be very easy to wonder what you do with the pain, the disappointment, the grief. What do you do? Where do you go from here? Society says, you know, what you really need to do is stop feeling bad, get over your feelings, bury them if you have to, move forward. Society says, fix the pain as quickly as you possibly can. Society says, especially if you're a guy, don't let other people see you grieve. Don't let other people see the pain that you're in. Then society says, just give it some time. Over time, everything will once again be okay. Society also says if there's unfinished business, plan to live with regret the rest of your life. There's a problem with that. Society's way, honestly, doesn't work. It just flat out doesn't work. It only leads to hopelessness and despair. So how do you deal with Chase's death and the grief that you feel? I'll share with you just a few moments today about what I think God wants to do in your life. The God that Chase heard about. Chase spent some time coming to the church that I happen to be the pastor of and have the privilege of being Chase's pastor. Biblical principles work. When you're in a time like this, you desperately need God to show up in your life. Society says bury your feelings. God says face your feelings and express them. Face your feelings and express them. Jesus had a friend named Lazarus who got violently ill. His sisters called for him to come. And Jesus shows up, quote unquote, late. Lazarus has passed away. In the Gospel according to John, John chapter 11, Jesus comes and says, where have you laid the body? And they say, "Come and see." And then the shortest verse found in the scriptures, John chapter 11, verse 35, Jesus wept. Sometimes we think that God is busy running the universe and He's not concerned with the pain that you and I face. I want to remind you today that He is concerned with the pain that you feel today, and He cares about you. David in the Old Testament cried out in Psalm chapter 31, and he said this, "I'm in distress. My soul and my body are in tremendous grief. My life is consumed in this anguish that I'm facing." Some of us today are in that scenario. Life is incredibly painful at times. This is one of those times. During times like this, the only viable option that you and I have is to cry out to Him. To cry out to Him and ask Him to do something in our lives to relieve the pain. Society says, fix the pain as quickly as you possibly can. God says, no, hang out in that area for a while. Review the loss. David again in Psalm chapter 31 said this, "I have become like a broken piece of pottery." And that describes many of us today. We feel broken, sad, wondering, what will tomorrow hold? Then David cries out and says, "But I trust in you, God. I'm going to choose to trust in you. You are my God," he says. "Save me in your unfailing love." I want to encourage you, men and women, to take this as a moment to recognize the shortness of life. This life is short. It flies by rather quickly. I also want to remind you this. This is just the preliminary to the real life. You been to Disney World? You go to Disney World, you pay somewhere around $419 to get in, not including hot dogs. And then you see that there's signs at each ride that says 30 minutes from this point, 45 minutes from this point, 3 weeks from Tuesday from this point. And you think, I just want to get on the ride. Here's the truth, my friends. This life that you and I see here, it's the line to the ride. It's not the ride. You see, the great thing about what Chase has experienced, he's on the ride. It's amazing. He's not in the line anymore. You and I will have the opportunity to enter the ride, to be with Chase again. Because Chase understood that God had a gift for him. The Word of God says, the wages of sin is death. If you've sinned, what you've earned is separation from God. That's the bad news. Fortunately, that verse, Romans chapter 6 and verse 13, goes on to say, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. Today, Chase is experiencing eternal life like no one ever has. Society says, do not allow others to see you grieve, grieve alone. God says, grieve in community, grieve in family. One of the most amazing things about this gathering today is the makeup of the group. It is one large, extended, caring, loving family. That's amazing. Those of you that are firefighters, it is a tremendous opportunity that you have. I hope you realize that today. The brotherhood, the sisterhood, the sense of camaraderie that you have. The sense of pain that you have because of that camaraderie. It's an amazing thing. When Jesus went to see Lazarus after he passed away, and he saw the sisters, in that very chapter, John chapter 11, it says this, many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brothers. Look around the room. That's what you've come to do. That's what you've come to do. That's an amazing thing. I want to encourage you to grieve in community. I want to encourage you to continue to think of Jenna, Kurt, and Wanda, not simply today, not simply next week, but next month. The month after that. Because you know what's going to happen? I guarantee you, I've been here a lot. We'll all go back to our regular lives. And yes, we'll miss Chase. Not like Kurt and Wanda. Not like Jenna. Can I strongly encourage you, a month from now, 2 months from now, go out of your way. Go out of your way to pour your life into them. It's an amazing thing that you gentlemen did on Father's Day, to go and said, you just picked up 40 new sons. That's an amazing thing. All of us need to wrap our arms around Kurt and Wanda. Are they strong? Yeah. But I got to tell you, they desperately not only need their God, they need you. They need you to wrap your arms around them and to care for them. Because they recognize that God says this in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. It says, God is the Father of all compassion, the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all of our troubles. God says, I got this. God says, I wasn't surprised by this. But there is a loss. And they're going to need people with skin on them to show up in their lives. To shoot a text. To put something on Facebook. To send a card. To make a call. To be there. And sometimes we wonder, I don't know what to say. I want to coach you in that right now. Let me coach you just for a moment. Here's what you say. Nothing. You don't need to come up with this amazing statement. And certainly don't say those those odd things that people tend to say in moments like this. Like, it'll be okay. Don't say that. Just show up. Just be there. This is a time for hugging, not a time to speak. Would you make a commitment to say, you know what, I'm going to plug them into my lives. I'm going to do small things. There are 300-400 people in this room. Each of us did one small thing in the next 6 months. That would make an amazing impact on them. I think I should make that commitment today. Society says, give it time. Time always heals. God says this to you. He says this to Kurt, to Wanda, Jenna. He says, let me heal your broken heart. Let me heal your heart. David said in Psalm chapter 31, in you, O Lord, I have taken refuge. I have no place to hide but in you. Turn your ear to me. Come quickly to my rescue. You're my rock. You're my place of refuge. You're a strong fortress to save me. You know where God is in times like this? He says, you're in a battlefield. I'll be the rock that you can hide behind. Wanda, Kurt, Jenna, run to Him every day. Run to Him and allow Him to throw His arms around you. Jesus said this as He was preparing to depart from His time on the earth, His disciples. He said, listen, peace I'm going to leave with you. My peace I'm going to give you. I don't give you peace as the world gives. Then He says, do not let your hearts be troubled. Times like this, you tend to be overwhelmed and consumed with pain. God says, use that pain to drive you to me. Because He says, I'll wrap my arms around you. It really is the only hope that we have. Then finally, society says, if you have unfinished business, plan to live with regret. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. God says you can still express your thoughts, your regrets to Chase. Perhaps you left things unsaid. Do you think if I could go back and do it again, I would make sure that I said this to Chase? Can I give you a second exhortation, a second challenge? Could you in the next week sit down at your computer, pull out a piece of paper, and write a note to Chase? Just express to him your feelings, your love for him. Tell him what you'd like to have told him. It will be an amazing opportunity for you. Situations like this are times when God definitely needs to show up. God definitely wants to show up in your life, my life, Wanda's life, Kurt's life, Jenna's life. Scriptures say mercy, peace, and love are yours in abundance. Here's what I'm praying for all of you, especially for you, Kurt, Wanda, Jenna. That you would experience God's love like never before. That you would sense Him wrapping His arms around you because He desperately cares for you. And I want to encourage you to think about Chase today, safely at home in the arms of His Heavenly Father. With that funny smile, walking around going, hey, I know you, meeting all kinds of people. And there's a day coming when you and I will have the opportunity to see Chase again. He'll introduce us, again, with that little bit of a gleam in his eye and that smile. Let's look forward to that day. This time I'm going to ask the gentlemen who are going to do the bell ceremony to come to the front.
All uniform personnel, attention!
The bell ceremony. Throughout most of history, the life of a firefighter has been closely associated with the ringing of the bell. As he began his tour of duty, it was the bell that started the shift. Throughout the day and night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which called him to duty and to place his life in jeopardy for the good of his fellow man. And when the call had ended and the alarm was completed, it was the bell that rang 3 times to signal the end. And now our brother, Chase Hartlaub. He has completed his task, his duties well done, and the bell rings 3 times, followed by a pause. 3 times, followed by a pause. And 3 times in memory and in tribute to his life and service.
Present arms! Order arms! At ease!
Well, on behalf of Kurt, Wanda, and Jenna, and Chase, thank you for being here today. We've got great memories of Chase. But one final thought. You and I are not simply bodies with souls. We're soul as a body. And Chase is still alive in all of eternity. And for that, we're incredibly grateful today. can I encourage you to speak in the present when you talk about Chase, not the past? Because he still exists, safe at home with his Heavenly Father in heaven forever. And for that, we're incredibly grateful. Pray with me, would you? Father, I really do thank you for the work that you have done in Chase's life, and I pray that you would, in a supernatural way, give peace to each individual who is here today, especially to Kurt, to Wanda, to Jenna. And Father, we are so, so grateful that you love Chase enough to send your son to die for him, and for that, we celebrate. Thank you for loving him and for loving us. Give us peace in our hearts even today in this most difficult situation and circumstance. We pray this in Jesus' name.